What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Steelers film breakdown of Faribault here with Derrick Bell. We are breaking down Eagles and Browns tape today as the Steelers will face a 4-1 team this Sunday. Not an easy game at all, but let's look back first a little bit at this Eagles game. Probably the shakiest Steelers game maybe we have seen all season. But we're going to start on the positives, the offense. It was great last week. Um, you've seen the Claypool play, you've seen stuff like this, but let's talk a little bit about the running game. Derrick, I'm going to let you break this one down. Kind of what do you see here from this run scheme?
So you get kind of the new flavor, you get the motion, and then they're going to run, Claypool on kind of the jet action. This jet action takes 22 completely out of the play here. He completely overruns his gap responsibility. Um, and that's kind of the design, right? So they've given the ball to Claypool on some of these running plays. Teams now, I feel like, have to respect that he could get the ball, and he's been a weapon when he's had the ball. Um, and you get good blocking up front. I mean, the run game is a little more inconsistent than in years past. Like I feel like we've had more splash plays, but maybe not the same success rate that we've seen when guys have been healthy in the past. But it's a really good play up front. Really, everyone does their job here. Kevin Dotson puts, one of the best D linemen in the game on his back. You get a nice block by Marquise Pouncey to open up the hole. You see Matt Fowler kind of seal the backside, um, which gives Connor a really nice lane to run through here. Um, Going to definitely need. It'd be interesting to see if they're able to do this against Cleveland because Cleveland's been pretty good about stopping the run up front.
Yeah, and it's kind of Matt Canada's new thing, motion, jet motion. This is what he did at Pitt 2016. And it's something else. This Vance McDonald split. It's a split zone run, and it's a split zone action. And what it does with the jet motion is it makes Epps run with Vance McDonald, thinking he's the lead blocker for Claypool on this sweep. So it's a really nice use of deception by the Steelers in general. Juju getting in there too, like the receivers always trying to get in there. Overall, it's just a good modern. This is how you want to run a modern run scheme. You want to give guys eye candy, and the blocking is just fantastic by everyone up front. Villanueva with a nice backside block, reaching the second level on 50. Filer just moves his guy. Dawson puts him in the turf. Everyone does their job here, and that's why Connor gets a big run. And a nice job by James Conner too, always running tough at the end of the play. So this is what we want to see from the Steelers offensive line going forward. And really nice schematics. Canada uses jet motion all day, and we saw lots of jet sweeps come out of it. All right, so second play. This is a missed Yankee play by the Eagles. John Hightower here is going to be the post route. Then you're going to get a backside crosser, and you're going to see Zach Ertz come in here, tight split. It's just a two route combination. And we've seen this in the past. The Derrick Slayton touchdown, we broke that down in week one. So you're just going to get post and a crosser. And we see an adjustment here. Watch Hayden creep up. In the past, it would be Hayden getting more depth because Hayden would come over top. This is the zombie call, as we call it. Hayden would come over top, drop back, help Nelson from that way. Minkah Fitzpatrick would take the one here. But I think that they have implemented a new check into this to make sure it didn't happen again. So let's go back to the start. As Hayden creeps up, you're going to see him contact through the break. So he's in the hip pocket here. If this ball's thrown, he's got a pass breakup, maybe even interception. He's in great position. I think this is the check. Minkah Fitzpatrick, I think, has to go back and help Steven Nelson. Nelson is taking everything outside, and Fitzpatrick, I think, has to get back. Instead, Minkah Fitzpatrick jumps this crosser and then kind of realizes, I got to get back. Luckily for the Steelers, it's a little bit of an overthrown ball by Wentz. This could have been a touchdown. I think you can blame this on Minkah Fitzpatrick for jumping that, and I think that's a new check. But Derek, what do you kind of see on this?
Yeah, same thing. Like you said, the Joe up top kind of communicating to Minka pre-snap and then kind of jumping up in kind of a more of a press technique to get in that trail technique to get in his hip. right there to play the over route. That's definitely different because normally when you get those nasty of the tight splits, we've seen Hayden in the past back up because he's got to get that depth. Like you mentioned with the Slayton touchdown, we broke that one down. He didn't have enough depth there, and it was going to be a tough play for him to get back and break up. It does look like the Steelers have made an adjustment here, but Minka is not on the same page as Joe. And that's kind of the theme that we've seen with the Steelers. I mean, the Eagles last week missed. They got Steven Nelson to bite on a double play. And again, the pass rush kind of bailed him out. The pass rush again bails him out here because I believe that's Terrell Edmonds that his assignment is actually Zach Ertz, I believe. But since he stays in the block, he kind of comes, and thank God he does, because if not, like you said, this is a touchdown. So the theme of the Steelers' struggles in the secondary have really just been a weird lack of communication, and it's been a little bit of an issue in the beginning of the season, but it was a really big issue last week, and something that they're going to have to get tightened up, because Cleveland likes these these max protection looks where you can take some shots down the field with Beckham and even Jarvis Landry. So it'll be interesting to see if they're more on the same page this week.
All right, so here's our third play. We're talking a little bit about the Travis Fulgham touchdown. Derrick, we talked about miscommunications on the last one. You see another one here.
Right, so the Steelers are in cover one, but it's basically like a cone or a switch coverage. You can see Edmonds, like as he's rolling down, make kind of a signal towards Steve Nelson, who's up top. You got Devin Bush that's going to follow the flat route with Miles Sanders, and then Edmonds is going to take Ertz because he's the first receiver that breaks inside. So if Ertz breaks outside, I believe Steven Nelson would be the one to pick him up. But as soon as he breaks inside, Steve needs to come with Fulgham down. And so I don't know why he's jumping out on Miles Sanders. Clearly that's already covered. He's the one guy that looks really out of place here. I know some people, I guess, wanted Minkah Fitzpatrick to kind of make a play on this ball. One thing that Wentz does, I think, is really good on this play. He doesn't lock into the left side of the field. You see him kind of scan to the right side of the field. And with Minkah in that kind of like robber role where he's just going to kind of read the quarterback's eyes, he kind of gets moved a step or two to the right to where he's not going to be able to get back to this play to break the ball up. It's just another example of, like we talked about with the last play, Steelers just not on the same page, especially on these possession downs. We saw some miscommunications on third down near the goal line. The 2-point conversion was the same way, where Minkah left his zone for whatever reason. So just the theme of the week was miscommunications in the secondary.
Yeah, and on the goal line of all things, really not a place where you see a lot of miscommunications. But we saw a ton on this day. I mean, I think the story wasn't third down defense. I think it was miscommunications, because most of the third down conversions were off of miscommunications. So this is a play, and it wasn't just one player. No, it was Minkah. We had Nelson here. In weeks past, it's been Edmonds. We've had everyone in the secondary be guilty of this. It's just something that the Steelers really need to tighten up. We know Joe Hayden's talking about tightening this up. And in the week, makes me think, I think they should just go simpler a little bit, stop playing with all these switches. I just don't think these players feel comfortable in the scheme right now. All right, so let's start on the Browns here. This play is going to look very, very familiar to Steelers fans. You've seen the Ray McLeod play before. This play originated by Kyle Shanahan last year in the playoffs down the stretch. Used it against the Packers in the NFC Championship game. And we've seen him use it again this year against the Giants. And now it's around the league pretty much. The Steelers have used it. I've seen multiple teams use this play. It's called F win-back X end around. And F win-back just means we're going to get a puller here, and this guy who would be the second puller is going to wind back this way, be the lead blocker. And with the potent run attack of the Browns, and you'll see that the bread and butter is misdirection, play action, and the rushing game. The rushing game is it's kind of a rarity in the NFL, but we've seen a few teams start to build their game off of the rushing attack and it actually expands to the passing game. But this one is the same idea. You get the puller, you fake it, Odell Beckham, and then it's just really just OBJ doing his thing in the open field. But it's the same type deal with the Ray McLeod thing. You get the lead blocker, you get a host of blockers up front. Alden Smith actually has a chance here to get Beckham, but Beckham is just too slippery. You get it to your best playmaker in the open field, and you let him go to work as a result of that. So, what do you kind of see here, Derrick?
Same thing. I mean, you got the misdirection um, is kind of becoming like a staple of a lot of teams running games. You see this outside linebacker, Alden Smith, pretty athletic, and he's not going to be able to get OBJ on the ground right there. I think it's interesting that the Steelers are obviously going to be aware of this play because it's on film from them. We have it in our playbook, but I think with how aggressive both Dupree and Watt play on the backside, we've seen both of them blow plays up from behind. It wouldn't surprise me if Cleveland tried to do some sort of reverse or something like that to keep both Dupree and Watt kind of in more contained roles instead of constantly running plays down from behind. This is just kind of the thing with Cleveland. Everything's built off their run game. I mean, it's play action passing. Baker's been very good off the play action pass. A lot of misdirection is really the theme of their offense. But, main thing here, OBJ, open field, it's going to be a very difficult task getting him to the turf.
Yeah, and one thing I will say, it's good training for next week because the Titans are really the same type of team. So it's 2 straight weeks. If you're going to get a team that does it, you get the Browns and the Titans 2 straight weeks. Easy learning because they're both very, very similar to each other. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this play action for the Browns. It's been their bread and butter. They give it out in multiple looks. They like to get Baker out of the pocket, but they run a lot of concepts off it. So, Derrick, what do you see here?
So this is what Cleveland wants to do. They want to give Baker these 1 to 2 read plays down the field to keep things simple for him. Kevin Stefanski, their new play caller's done a really good job making life easy on Baker. You see really that's only really a 2-man concept. You got Kareem Hunt kind of underneath, or the running back kind of underneath as the check down. But this is basically a Yankee concept. So you get the post route from Beckham down at the bottom. But they have a wrinkle to it to where Jarvis, instead of running all the way over on the over route, he kind of breaks it back to the sideline. This is something that I saw Oakland from a different YouTube film breakdown that I was watching a couple weeks ago. Oakland actually ran this same exact thing that Gruden put in, and they hit except this deep safety wasn't back there. He had bit on the fake over route, and they hit a bomb behind him. But it's a really cool wrinkle. I think it's going to be interesting to see. I think the way that you saw the Steelers get beat last week with Minka kind of jumping when he should have stayed back on the high tower play that could have been a touchdown. I think that the way to play that is to keep the free safety back instead of trying to slice this, because if you try to slice this, you're basically going to leave this backside corner wide open. And if that safety's not there, that's an easy touchdown, even though this isn't a great ball by Mayfield.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Eagles ran a similar thing. They actually went right back to Yankee, but it was from the other side, and Fulgham essentially ran an over curl and curled in the middle of the field, and Fulgham made the play. It just basically attacks Nelson. Nelson's outside leverage, and there's no way Minka's going to come down and make that play. He's obviously going to take the deep ball on that one. So the Yankee concepts have been a problem for the Steelers this year so far. Don't be surprised if the Browns pull one out as well. All right, and so this last Browns play, we're going to talk a little bit about the defense. They're coming in with the battered secondary, Greedy Williams on IR, Carl Joseph and Ronnie Harrison both out. So the starters are going to be Andrew Sendejo and second-year safety out of Miami, Sheldrick Redwine. And it's It's not a good secondary when it's healthy. We're going to show you a clear example of that last week. Philip Rivers honestly threw the game away, and it was really the pass rush from Myles Garrett mainly that made this a different game for this Browns defense. So, Derrick, what do you see on this play, and what's so problematic about it for the defensive secondary of the Browns?
So you get trips to the bottom side. Cleveland's going to be in quarters coverage. With the top side corner, he's going to press and basically play man to man on that guy up top. You can see Sendejo is the guy that looks like he's out of position, but it's a really good play design by Frank Wright. All it is a clear out route. So Johnson is going to clear this safety out, and they're going to run a dig behind it with T.Y. Hilton, which gets Ronnie Harrison to actually bite on the dig route instead of carrying his guy. Which should be Johnson. If this is a better ball, this is an easy touchdown, but Rivers leads him kind of into Sendejo instead of just down the field where he was running. But you can kind of see this a lot when you watch the Browns. They play a lot of zone. They're really bad in quarters. You see guys just running through zones, unfazed, really wide open. With a secondary that's got as many backups playing, I would expect that you're going to see the Steelers kind of take some shots down the field. It'd be interesting to see if they can, protect Ben to take a couple shots down the field, especially in the middle of the field, like where those safeties would be with either Claypool or Juju or Ebron. Any of those guys would work.
Yeah, Ben's had a deep ball troubles this year, but you have so many different weapons the Steelers could use. Claypool, you can use Ebron. Juju is another guy. You can even use James Washington here. Last year they liked to use Washington on post routes over the middle of the field. I think that's a great concept to hit here. I think James Washington could have a big day if they hit on that. It's a secondary that's bruised and battered, and the Steelers, even with missing Deontay Johnson, are still have so many weapons in the passing game. So you can definitely see them exploit this Browns secondary on Sunday.